My beloved child, there is a reason you are here right now, watching this, feeling that strange pull in your chest that you cannot explain. Because something about you has already been spoken, without you even knowing it. And it is not just a thought. It is a message that has already traveled through people's minds when they see you, when they hear about you, when your name is mentioned in a room you are not even in. Listen carefully. Someone is telling everyone you look like a different version of yourself. Not physically only, but something deeper. They are trying to describe you, but their words keep changing every time they speak. One moment they say you look calm, the next moment they say there is something powerful about you they cannot understand. And here is the strange part. They cannot agree on what you truly are. Because every time they try to define you, something about you refuses to be defined. It is like your presence carries a hidden layer, something people feel before they even understand. And right now, that is becoming louder. Somewhere, someone is observing you closely, remembering you more than you realize, and repeating your presence in conversations where your name should not even belong. But they are not saying everything clearly. No. They are hiding the most important part. Because if they said it out loud, it would sound too unbelievable. They are telling others, you look like someone who is about to change everything. And even they don't fully understand why they are saying it. But you can feel it, can't you? That shift inside you, like something invisible is slowly standing up within your life, stretching, awakening, preparing. You are not the same version of yourself that people remember. And deep down, even you know that. But what nobody is telling you yet is this. The way people see you is about to change completely. Not because you changed your appearance, but because something about your energy has started rewriting how you are perceived. And this is where it becomes even more intense. Because there is someone who keeps thinking about you more than they should. They are confused by you. They cannot place you in a category. They cannot explain you to others without sounding uncertain. So instead, they say fragments, half-truths, broken descriptions of your presence. But every fragment carries the same message. You are not ordinary. And the more they try to deny it, the stronger it becomes. Because your life is entering a moment where perception is no longer stable around you. People will start noticing things about you they ignored before. Small things, your silence, your eyes, your way of existing in a room without trying. And slowly, they will begin to talk. Not loudly, not directly, but in whispers that carry too much meaning. And you will feel it before you hear it. Because deep down, you already sense that something about your story is being rewritten, in places you cannot see yet, but can definitely feel. And what is coming next will explain everything they have been trying not to say out loud. There is a silence that follows truth before it becomes visible. And right now, that silence is surrounding your name. Not in a loud way, not in a dramatic way, but in the kind of silence where people pause for a second longer before they speak about you. Where your presence suddenly becomes something they have to think about carefully. Because something has started shifting in how others interpret you. They are no longer seeing you as just a person they know. They are starting to see you as a question they cannot fully answer. And that question is growing louder in their minds. What is really different about them? Some will try to ignore it. Some will pretend they never noticed anything. But there will always be that moment, when your memory appears in their thoughts without permission. And they cannot control it. This is what is happening now. Somewhere, conversations about you are happening without you being present. Not in a negative way, not in a simple way, but in a deeply uncertain way. Because people are trying to place you into their understanding, and failing every time. One person will say you seem distant. Another will say you seem deeply aware. Another will say there is something unspoken about you, something they cannot read. And every version of you they describe is slightly different. Almost like you are changing depending on who is looking at you. But the truth is not that you are changing. It is that people are finally starting to see what was always there. And this is where it becomes even more intense. Because there is someone in particular who cannot stop replaying your presence in their mind. They are not speaking about it openly. They are not admitting it fully. But your name appears in their thoughts at the most unexpected moments. And every time it does, they feel something they cannot explain. Not confusion alone, but recognition. As if they already knew something about you long before they met you, or noticed you, or understood you. And now that feeling is becoming impossible to ignore. They begin to compare every interaction they have with you, every memory, every small detail. Trying to find logic. Trying to find closure. But instead, they only find more depth. And this is where the shift begins to accelerate. Because when someone cannot define you, they start remembering you more, not less. And that remembrance turns into curiosity. And curiosity turns into focus. And focus turns into something even stronger. Attention that you never asked for, but now naturally surrounds you. You may not see it yet, but your energy is no longer moving quietly in the background of people's lives. It is starting to stand in the foreground of their thoughts. And the most important part is still not revealed. Because what they are saying about you is only the surface of something much deeper that is about to surface soon. Something is about to become impossible to ignore. Not because it suddenly appears, but because it was always there, slowly building beneath the surface of how people see you. And now, it is reaching a point where it can no longer stay hidden in simple words or casual impressions. Because your presence is starting to create a reaction in others that they do not fully understand. When they think about you now, they don't just remember you. They replay you. Moments. Expressions. Silence. Energy. The way you said something without saying much at all. And the strange part is, the more they replay you, the less certain they become about their own understanding of you. It feels like trying to hold water in their hands. Every attempt to define you slips slightly out of place. And that is making people uncomfortable in ways they cannot explain openly. So instead, they adjust their language. They soften their statements. They change their descriptions. But the feeling remains the same. You are not easy to understand. And that thought is spreading quietly. Not as gossip, but as realization. And realization is far more powerful. Because gossip fades, but realization sticks. Now listen carefully. There is someone who has started noticing something even deeper than everyone else. They are not just thinking about you occasionally anymore. You are becoming part of their internal dialogue. a repeated thought, a return point in their mind when everything else goes silent. And they are beginning to feel something unusual. Not attraction in the simple sense, but awareness. As if their mind is slowly adjusting to a version of you they have not fully met yet. And this is where everything begins to intensify. Because when someone cannot fully reach you in understanding, they start creating meaning around you. They start filling the gaps with interpretation. And those interpretations grow. Sometimes bigger than reality itself. But here is what they don't realize yet. You are not becoming more complicated. You are becoming more visible. And visibility always confuses those who were only ever used to seeing surface-level versions of people. Now your energy is no longer blending in quietly. It is starting to stand out even when you are silent. Even when you are not trying. Even when you are simply existing. And this is why conversations about you are changing tone. Less certainty. More curiosity. Less explanation. More pause. Because people are starting to feel something they cannot put into normal words. That you are in a phase of becoming. And anything that is becoming always feels unfamiliar to those watching it happen. But what comes next is the part they will not be able to ignore at all. Now something deeper begins to unfold. Not outside of you, but around the way people interpret your silence. Because your silence is no longer being seen as empty. It is being seen as meaningful. And that changes everything. When you speak less, they start listening more. When you stay quiet, they start analyzing more. When you step away, your presence becomes stronger in their thoughts instead of weaker. And this is where the shift becomes undeniable. People are no longer reacting to what you do. They are reacting to what they feel when you are not doing anything at all. And that feeling is becoming difficult to dismiss. Because it does not behave like ordinary memory. It returns on its own. Without permission. Without warning. Now listen closely. There is a pattern forming in the way you are being spoken about. At first, it was confusion. Then curiosity. And now, it is reflection. People are starting to reflect you back onto themselves. What did I miss about them? Why do I keep thinking about them? Why does their presence feel different compared to others? And these questions do not come with answers. They only grow. And in that growth, your presence expands inside their awareness. Even when you are far away. Even when nothing is happening. Even when time passes. Because something about you has started to settle into memory in a way that does not fade easily. And there is one person in particular, who is now reaching a point where they can no longer treat you as just a passing thought. You have become a reference point in their mind. A quiet comparison they don't even realize they are making. Other people feel normal. But when your memory appears, something shifts. A pause. A hesitation. A deeper attention. And they don't know why. But you are no longer stored in their mind as a simple image. You are stored as a feeling they cannot fully explain. And this is what makes it powerful. Because feelings that cannot be explained are the hardest to forget. Now the most important part is this. You are entering a phase where your presence begins to influence perception even without interaction. People will start noticing changes in how they talk about you without realizing they have changed their tone. They will start correcting themselves mid-sentence when describing you. They will start choosing softer words, more careful words, because something inside them is telling them, you are not something to be defined too quickly. And even they don't understand why. But you are not meant to be fully understood in one moment. You are meant to be realized slowly. And that realization is now spreading. Quietly. Steadily. Irreversibly. And what is about to come next will bring everything they have been feeling into full awareness.